So Al, I got up last Saturday morning to get on the internet and decided to look at old newspapers.
For the articles, yeah.
Yeah, for the articles. What I was honing in on was the fact that it's the 60th anniversary of the Beatles playing the Ed Sullivan Show. And I was interested in an international perspective of what occurred. And I got to the Age website. The Age is a Melbourne newspaper. And the only article that I can find about this was about a bomb scare. A bomb scare at the second show, not the first show, the one that is probably the most famous, but the second one, which happened a week after. It's got 70 million people. That was pretty massive in terms of back in those days, probably still pretty massive these days. But spoiler alert, it was actually a hoax, right? So it was apparently a boy, but we'll get to that later. But Al, good morning to you. This is something I've never heard of. And you go into all of the Beatles websites out there, there's lots of books on the Beatles. None of it talks about this bomb scare at a pretty significant event.
Good morning, mate. I'm interested in a bit of a conversation around this because most bomb scares that happen to famous bands are pretty well known. So I'm wondering why there's not a huge amount of information. I'm hoping that there's a bit of commentary in the comments here around some information that we might not know about, but tell us a little bit more.
So this is the second Ed Sullivan Show, so not the first one, the second one. They brought the show to Miami. It's at the Deauville Hotel. And first things first, CBS, they start giving away 3,500 tickets to the show. So they obviously thought that they could fit all that in, but only 2,600 got into the show, which means that 900 missed out on a ticket. And they're pretty mad.
Oh, jeez, man, I'd be... So hang on, so what happened? They just got turned away?
No, well, I don't know if they told them. I think they all rocked up.
Oh, mate. That's rough.
So they're angry. So the police are trying to figure all of that out and calm the farm. And then there's this bomb scare. So I'm not sure exactly when the bomb scare was phoned in, but apparently the Beatles were playing. So they're playing to 7 million people. Somebody gets under the stage whilst the Beatles were playing to try and figure out whether or not there was a bomb.
Jeez, brave.
So all of this was happening with a live television audience. Turns out there wasn't a bomb. I mean, there was no red cord or blue cord or black cord that needed to... I mean, that would have been cool. I mean, you could actually see a movie that was probably ends up being written about this if there was a cord, and you could just imagine the stakes. It would have been high stakes, right? But there wasn't it. So it turned out that the police said, well, it was a boy. Some nut job was trying to come up with a bomb hoax. But again, like this just doesn't make sense as to why we're hearing about it now. I've scoured the internet. There's nothing about this.
Right. So what do you, if you were to put your, say, forensics cap on, what do you think are some possible reasons why this happened? Is it just a load of bollocks, or is there some roads we can go down here, mate?
Look, I got three theories. So as I do, as I put my forensic cap on, Al, and sometimes I go down into the depths of the internet to try and figure out what might have happened here. But look, first and foremost, I mean, the police said it was a boy, right? So I mean, there's nothing. I mean, do we have to doubt that? I mean, maybe it was just a boy. But wow, I mean, that boy, I'm thinking, 14 years old at the time, 1964.
Mid-70s by now. Would he still be... So he'd still be alive. So he could be, someone's relative, someone's uncle. I'm interested. Does anyone out there know who this person might be, or any... And
that's it. And that's it. So this guy might be alive. But I'm surprised that no one has sort of passed this type of story down the generations. Like, it just feels like it'd be something that people would be talking about at Christmases and Thanksgivings or whatever. But I said I haven't heard about it. So please let me know if there is a dirty secret in your family about somebody, some grandpa being a bit of a rascal, phoning in.
Oh, yeah. Look, absolutely, mate. Look, I'm putting my 2 cents out. I reckon that surely if a group of 900 people got turned away, one of those people are going to be pretty bloody disgruntled. And maybe they thought, well, bugger this, I'm going to call it in, call a bomb hoax, mate. I don't know. What else are you thinking? What else could it be?
Well, it could be Elvis. No, it could be Colonel Parker.
When you say Elvis, so Colonel Parker, just remind me who he is again.
So Colonel Parker manages Elvis, or used to manage. I mean, they passed away now, but
yeah.
But I had to come up with 3 theories here. So this is probably the flimsiest one, but how Elvis sent a telegram through to Ed Sullivan before the first show and said, good luck, boys. I hope everything goes well. But I've just got to wonder, it sort of turned out over the years that Elvis was a little bit more suspicious of the Beatles that he was leading on to. And I don't know, if you're the top dog, would you somewhat want someone to come into your country to, take over? I don't think Elvis was impressed by the Beatles.
So when you say suspicious, you mean jealous, or is he thinking that there's some kind of English spies or something?
Oh, I don't know. I think he was getting into a bit of that territory by then. I think he had a relationship with Richard Nixon. I'm not a big Elvis fan. I'm not really, but I've got this theory that they could be going one's enough. You had your show. You're not going to get a second, not on my watch, not in my country. But let's move on to that, because I think that one's probably the flimsiest one. But my biggest one is probably the third one, is that this was all made up. So the hoax was a hoax. Now, I don't know about this for sure. Now, the news articles definitely existed. They definitely existed, and it was an Australian newspaper that I found it firstly. But I could trace the article back to a series of British newspapers from the day before. So the original article that I saw was from the 18th of Feb. Go back a day, it was in the British newspapers. But what it wasn't in is any American newspapers that I could see. So wondering potentially that this was a slow news day, and it turns out that this didn't actually happen. But I don't know. That's interesting. I guess it just goes to show that sometimes newspaper articles can be made up.
Oh, absolutely. So to call out to any of our people in America watching, if you do have any information or access to information to shed some light on this would be fantastic. But mate, can we actually go back to visit this place that hosted the Beatles? Or?
Yes, there's that. I forgot to say that. Yeah, so I think a couple of years ago they did end up demolishing the Deauville Hotel.
Oh.
I'm wondering if the boy actually had anything to do with it. I mean, it was a couple of years ago, so I don't know. But, I mean, whoever put it through, was there a connection there? But so we can't actually see. We can't, there's questions, right? I mean, where was the stage? Was it even possible to get under the stage? I mean, it looked like it from the photo, right? But who knows? I don't know. But all these questions and all these unanswered questions, and I think, if you were there at the time, do you remember a bomb scare article? Did you actually phone this in, or were you related to that person who phoned it in? I'd love to hear in the comments about this. I think there is a story here. It just feels like there's something that is going to explain all of this. So let us know in the comments, and we'll see, and we'll provide an update if we get any further information.